Shaw with Julian on the brand note and a review of Blue Beetle. I've got an awful lot of old films that I haven't put any reviews up yet of, which is the latest failure in the DC universe or widely in the comic book superhero genre post-Endgame that has relentlessly failed. And I have conspiracy theories about this now, that the people getting paid are still getting paid, because how many $100 million failures at the box office would they continue to put out? Every single film they put out is a $100 million failure. And they just keep doing it. And for reasons of oversaturation, everyone being over, having these comic book superheroes made, scraping the barrel in the characters they're using, and scraping the barrel in the actors they're using that no one really cares about. And the latest is the lowest grossing DC Extended Universe film of all time, all the way down now to a box office of 129 million, which is, we're going from the days of Endgame and Infinity War topping out, approaching $2 billion. And now we're talking about a third of what a Tarantino drama would get for films with $100 million marketing budgets. Do you care what this one's about? It's one of the most rote, generic stories possible. Young kid. In this case, the entire slant on the movie is it is Latino, and that is it. That's the only thing that's brought to the table here. Something that the Transformer movie this year also brought to the table much better. And I'm finding myself surprisingly saying how much better that Transformers movie was than virtually all of the post-Endgame Marvel and DC films. So this one has the entirely anonymous Solo Mariduena as the Blue Beetle. He's someone that unexpectedly attains amazing superpowers. And these are all characters that were so sub all of the main ones that have got these superpowers that there's nothing remotely original in the story. So there's some big tech company. The woman who is running the tech company is trying to be overthrown by the other people who have this Blue Beetle thing and want to turn it into weaponry. And this Latino guy who's trying to get a job there as a janitor that ends up sort of becoming romantically involved with the ostracized female head of the company who's being overthrown. He becomes the chosen one of the Blue Beetle and gets all the powers, very much in a way that Ryan Reynolds got in the Green Lantern movie, pretty much identically to that. And the Green Lantern movie was significantly better than this. And that is pretty damning. At least it was a lot more ambitious and interesting than this. But the whole setup is essentially the same, where he gets this Blue Beetle powers and then fights the people that want to take the Blue Beetle powers and turn them into military hardware. And along the way, we're supposed to care that he's got, Latino heritage and his family are poor and being turned out of their house. There's not one original bone in this entire movie. I don't know anything in it at all that is remotely captivating or interesting. The cast is pretty non-eventful, apart from the legend that is George Lopez. He's actually great, and he is a legendary actor and comedian. And also Susan Sarandon, he's like the evil industrialist trying to steal the weaponry so that she can turn it into weaponry. And then they have lots of fights, and it's all incredibly unambitious. 127 minutes. I'm surprised it's that long, to be honest. The only reason this film hasn't got torn apart by critics is the Latino element. So how on earth this film actually got 78% on Rotten Tomatoes when it actually deserves probably about 40%. And 61% on Metacritic is a lot more favourable. All of that is entirely down to the fact that they're painting it as the first Latino superhero movie. Even though we've probably been down this road before, it's actually such a trite, short, slight, repetitive, uninteresting film. I I don't know that it's messy enough to be as bad as Ant-Man 3, which was a nadir, or what was the other one that was equally bad but actually had a couple of good elements. So at the moment, it's incredible that the Flash film is actually the better of all of these, which I think I gave a 6 out of 10 to, for at least having some ambition and storyline, whereas these films don't. Ant-Man was absolutely appalling. I don't think this is quite as bad. You might get some, for a once through, you're going to get some amiable entertainment, but you'll also be wondering why they bothered with the cast or the story, as though this was something at this stage of the game that we needed. Things like The Eternals will probably be remembered as a much better film than it was because of how bad everything since was. So I don't really want to waste any more time on Blue Beetle. It's actually pretty dire. And given the fact that it's so rote, 100 movies into the whole superhero comic book genre, it's like we're at day one. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 10 for being absolute garbage, to be honest.